Good morning. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We are yet at another Powers of Wisdom session. I have with me Owek Hajj Simbwa Bunnya and his wife, Hajjat Simbwa Bunnya. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll just quickly introduce what Powers of Wisdom is. We are today in the home of Mr. and Mrs. Hajj and Hajjat Bunnya, and we have been doing the Powers. We've been doing the Powers of Wisdom series for over a year, and today we have, they are actually my in-laws. So actually my parents-in-law, thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you and to share your experiences with our group. We've got a number of people on the call today, and with many more joining us soon. I have personally known Hajj and Hajjat, who I now call mommy and daddy, for all of my life. So it's difficult sometimes to transition out of them being the people I've always known to them being my in-laws. So my father-in-law, Hajj Bunya, always teaches him that the Baganda culture of shaking hands or not shaking hands with in-laws will have to go away, because he's been like a father to me for all of these years. But so I'm very glad and privileged that we're here today, and we are going to be talking about your life. Powers of Wisdom. We just basically, it's not a big interview. It's just us getting to know how your life has been and what lessons you can take and share with us in that life. So we'll go with the ladies first. For anyone watching, we are recording this session. So please be aware that we'll be sharing the videos for those who missed to be able to catch up. So we'll go ladies first, and I will ask Hajjat Bunya. Mami, tell us a bit about your background, how you grew up, where you grew up, and then we'll move on to Daddy to tell us about his side.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I have to thank Allah for my parents and my big brother, because they made sure that I go through schooling. But by then, during my time, it was not easy for us to go through the school system. So they made sure that I go through the school age. That from primary up to A-level, then to tertiary institution, then to university. So I thank them so much.
Yes.
And from our childhood, we had our spiritual background. So we always know that the first person in this world to make you succeed or go through,
yes,
is Allah.
Yes.
Because whatever we have is being planned by Allah. We didn't know how we came on this world.
Yes.
So we had decided for that, having that spirit in, because you can't. It's not easy to adapt to that. So many people have lost their lives. So many have not benefited from their life. So I keep on thanking God. Whatever move I made, Allah is my first person to do what? Guide me, give me the authority to wake up and do whatever activity I'm going to pursue it. And I thank that spirit I had it from infancy. So I grew up with that. And I remember during my early years in private sections, I was so impressing the parents who were looking at me, because I was very much focused on the religious, our religious norms.
Yeah.
So and on top of our culture. And being that we grew up from a polygamous family, that we made sure that we are all together because our following our religion, we don't have to break up. That's how people tend to expand more. Then from there, we had our big brother, who was graduating Hajj Hajjat started off with us. On top of our parents, well, by the time he came up, our parents had already pushed us some ahead. So we started off with him, and he gave us a very great figure, and he was a torch bearer in our family. So we came up, we went on with our system as you can do. Not leaving our religion behind. We were so much focused on our religion that it's the one which guides us to move out and Allah's ways.
Yes.
But all the same, as you grow up, you have to weigh the wrongs and the goods of whatever this world. And you focus on what you can lead you in a better future. Then I always emphasize on starting with our religious background, instill our morals in that, and so nobody guides us not to go astray in life. Because this life you tend to get to it after you have passed through a lot of challenges. But if you have that deep steady, deep steady heart that Allah is focusing on you, because when you're an adult, you can always decide on where to go. But you say, oh, there's that very unknown person is guiding us, he's seeing what we are doing. And once you go astray, and yet you already have your mind so exploring further. Then you keep what you have to do is to do that. When I start off, I ask Allah to enable me to go through this world, because there are so many challenges that you go through. Then you have to accept that, okay, through my parents, that's I came in this world.
Yes.
And you have to follow what they tell me. So they are the first teachers of this world. Then you move ahead, and good enough you have some role models, being that you have your big brothers. They are always our torch bearers. To focus on them. Then we move ahead. Then when you come to the adolescent age, it's very challenging.
Tell us about adolescent age. During your time, because I think adolescents at this time still find it very challenging.
Yeah, it's very
so how was it at your time?
Yeah. Adolescent age is very challenging. You have to look at the ups and downs of it. You have to, then if you have that root of that when I mess with this, when I do this, that first person in this world who we don't know is monitoring what activity I'm doing. And if you have that deep state heart on that, I think it normally protects you.
Yes.
And you find that you don't want to mess around. That you have to have a feeling that once I mess so much, or I'm going to be punished so much. Once you know that if I do that, there's what you call hell. I might go to hell, and that unknown world where we are going, and that unknown person who's guiding us. If you don't follow what he says, you never know what the end. Because right from the beginning, you don't know how you came to this world. We are just in transit. We don't know. So you know that at least after being exposed to this world and readings let's say if you read the Quran and these secular studies and whatever you go on, you find that you can be able to
Pick from what you're saying is to make it through the adolescent years and the teenage years is what helped for you was a strong attachment to God and knowing that there are consequences to your actions, so you don't stray too much during those years.
I think, first of all, I said earlier on that from the before the even before the adolescent age, I was so much attached to the Quran. So I started being exposed to it at the very tender age. That one also prohibited me.
Yes.
For many misgivings. So I emphasize that the religious background helps us so much.
Yes.
And it helps because you know that if I go like this, if I mess, if I do this, that unknown person is seeing me.
Yes.
And you don't know how far you're going to be punished.
Yes.
And whatever you have to know that whatever I do, whatever I look at, I have to ask him for guidance and see how I can overcome this.
Yes.
So I had that protection within. Yeah.
So we'll move over to Daddy now, who can tell us a bit about your own background, where you were born, how you grew up, what was that like? And then obviously you moved to city life. I know you were born. It's unfair these days that Masaka doesn't get very good press. People from Masaka, they don't, they get teased a lot, but you can tell us a bit about your own background, please.
Thank you very much on this program for the first time. Right from the beginning, I'd like to tell you that I'm now
82 years old.
I was born in Masaka, Tengesa. Tengesa is about 4 miles from Masaka. I am told I was not born in a hospital.
It's talking.
I'm told
Banana plantation.
and the person who was very instrumental in my birth was called Katuka, a lady. I don't know what they call it in English.
Traditional birth attendant.
Traditional birth attendant. And this person all in very high esteem, although she went to go on. My mother, the photograph was called Josephine. Was a Catholic. How it became, when she came to get married to my father, was because my father had a friend called me, they were same age. And I told him I have a sister studying, but I'd like you to take her. She had just finished the first stage of she was barely 13 years. What which of the second was me? Third was Professor Kasoti. And there they had marital problems. She left, she went somewhere else. Where she went, she produced 7 children. And unfortunately, 4 of them have died, including one, Dr. Pascal Kane, and many companies keep on, you know. At that tender age, when my mother left the home, I was left in the care of my sister, Safia Mbonyi.
Mm.
But of course, by then I didn't know she was my sister.
Who did you think she was?
I thought she was my mother because she
Yeah.
washed my clothes, she looked after me, and we stayed together. And on many occasions, when we went to visit my royal mother. I thought that was his grandmother until later on.
Mm.
We had a very deep bond of friendship with that sister of ours. And even when she got married, she requested me to accompany her. And I went we said something. Then I came back.
Mm.
My school days started very early because by the time we went to formal school, I was already fluent in writing and reading Uganda. That was
So who had been teaching you the reading and writing Luganda?
my brothers. Uniform
Mm.
was one of them. There was one called the Muhammad Rega. Muhammad Rega is now the father of a friend of mine who owns child cottages.
Mm. Oh, okay, is that the connection?
Connection. Then there is the Ahmed Kabari, you heard of the one. It was Kawesi. That area and that home of ours, there were a collection of many people, not definitely related to us, but those days people were people. They will take on people whom they are not related to.
And look after them as though they were their own.
Yes. So that is the environment in which I do. By the time I went to P1, to Ghana, not the president of Ghana, the original Ghana, where now is or the Masaka Secretary somewhere, right at the top. That's where we were. It was the thatched school. We used to walk 4 miles from the school, but with the big company, we never felt that distance. Was a year later, we shifted to the present place or where it is now. There, I went to P2, P3. After P3, they found in people there were many students. So some of us were literally jumped from P3 to P5. P5. Then it was difficult, but in time later on I caught up.
Yeah.
And then I was very comfortable. Then in P6, that normally they used to do PLE
in P6.
But in our year, the government changed and we were supposed to do it the following year in P7. Hardly were we in the middle of P7. Then the government again changed and said, no, they have P8. Who were the pioneers of P8.
Oh, P8.
And P8, primary 8. So there we did the exams, P8 plus P9, same exam. The difference was that those sitting in the P8 would go to senior one, and those in P9 would go to senior 2. And those who failed would go to commercial. They didn't go to commercial, AP and so on.
Yes.
So in P8, I passed. And because they wanted to retain a good name of the school, although we about started initially, they gave us very speedy test. They wanted to have only 5 to sit. 5 of us sat. Fortunately, I was the first one. And I was the only one who passed. I went to Moto. Before going to Moto, my elder brother, somebody was there. He came to my father and pleaded with him. But he wanted his brother to join him Now, colleagues of my father did not welcome that idea because it was at that time when a very prominent Muslim converted to Islam. That was a useful. And so they were not, they thought this would also
lead you to leave your religion.
But he was assured that, and he believed in him. He believed in him more, he believed in him more than his brothers. All the documents are so used to be kept by him. So when in fact requested, he said yes, okay. When I reached the school, that's very different, of course, was there. But the headmaster, I think, or he was informed, they did not allow us to stay in the same house. They wanted to stay in each one in a different house. There was in England a house where Ampati, Mr. Ampati, relative Ampati, handed me over to his friend, Israel Mayema. You've heard of that name?
Yes, I've heard the name,
Yes.
although I don't really know him.
Okay.
Just one thing, for those listening, Dad is talking about his brother, engineer Yunus Mpaji, who the late engineer Yunus Mpaji, and for the Gaza girls, that is the father. He was the father of another Gaza girl, Jenna Chirabo. So that's the connection.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He's of course, the connection is that our father, his father, Al Kajubi, was the elder brother of my father. So they are of the same lineage.
Yes.
And the same father. Perhaps I didn't tell you about their migration, and our grandfather's migration from Banana and so on. Because we have those religious wars, grandfather in Sevata was a fighter. Who fought, were taunted, then they are pushed from Parava, then from where they stayed separate there. And again, he was also speared, killed. But when he was killed, he had his 5 children. The father, those 5 children were left, but the elder brother of that Yunus Sebata, who was a Christian, because our grandfather Yunus Sebata had 17 brothers, and the only one who became a Muslim. So one of his brothers said he must rescue his brother's children, and so they were brought back to Kampala and brought back to Masaka, and he made sure he took them to families, Muslim families, so that they can study the land Israel. So that's what that's a small version. Now, Buddha from Buddha, the Owek, maybe I should tell you some programs. Somebody has been learning everything in Uganda. Now at Buddha, everything was in English. Let everyone report out. We made sure that children and Buddha all must speak English, no vernacular, except on Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon for speaking another language.
The headmaster insisted that you must speak same language so that you can communicate.
Just one moment.
Yes, so English was the language. But for the Baganda, the headmaster, Timothy Cole, insisted they must learn Uganda from senior 1 to senior 2. After that, they can opt it out. But he would say it was inconceivable for a Muganda not to know how to write and reading. So
And that's very important in this day and age. We've got many children who are Baganda, Banyankole, Basoga, who only speak English.
Yes, that's why I normally insist. Okay, the every and when my kids were around here, they had to eat. We had our English teacher, he is such a long literature. His method of teaching is really amazing because he would come to class with very many newspapers, and each one gives one copy. After 30 minutes, cross, and then you just wait the main story. And the fellow knew everything, you can't tell it. So you want to just read and understand what you have read. And that one, I am passing over to my kids. When you read something, don't just read and understand. So, I finished Bundo. There was some problem with senior 4. There was a strike just before, about 3 weeks before our exam. We were sent back, but then later they asked us to come back. But we didn't sit at Bundo. They were failing us to come back to the exam and then back. After that, the following year, when the results were out, fortunately, I had got very good grades. But that's the time they were starting L level, higher school certificate, and they were taking very few. And those who had been in our stream were denied that chance to go to the A level. So we went to already the employment was available. When I went to interview, I was offered 5 places. I had to select one.
You had to choose one from one of them.
Yes, and I chose. We took me to Kawanda. Kawanda, I found my boss was called Sam Mukas, who happened to be doing very, very. After some 4 or 5 months, he advised me to continue for the degree level because only the independence was around.
So this we're talking about just before 1962.
Yes, that was 19. We did my O-level 1959. 1960 was at Kawanda. 60 years, still some year. That's my boss, some person to far beyond. So I must be very grateful to the late principal. I went there and told him what I want. But before that, when we were at Wodo, Muslim were very few. In my class, we were 3. When I entered the senior one, we were 3. Senior 3, there were 2, Pachi and Luzinda. Then in the final year, there was Subuga, Samuel Subuga. Then there was so we were about 7 old school. But when they left, seems the following year, there was no addition, there was no more addition. And then during our final year, with myself, Abu Kata, I see at Kaja, she's still alive, young sister of Kaja. So during the Ramadan, Chris used once in a while. No, twice he used to come. But then also the school made special provisions for Muslims. We are used to have a special table where we juice, rice, and meat every day. and they made preparations for that.
Yeah.
And they gave us a room where we and every month we used to have somebody to come to give us lectures. But the person who was consistent was late Kasule's son. Sheikh Owek, late Sheikh Owek. And it was for me the first time to see a sheikh dressed in a suit with a tie.
Yes.
And he told us the sheikh, and I wondered, because I've never seen a sheikh
Dressed in a suit and tie.
Really, that's true. So as I go back to.
So that's how you met Prince Badru Kakungu,
Yes.
on his visits to Bunnya to
Yes,
check
yes.
on the Muslim
Yes.
students.
And also on Eid, we send a vehicle to collect us to pray, give us luncheon, and then after luncheon, they will take us back to work. But of course, school regulations were that we had to be in uniform, shorts,
The shorts.
with this one side, and the red belt. So that's how we came from principal. So when this idea came from my boss at Kawanda, some person, I went to principal. I told him what I said. He welcomed the idea. He had a friend, Sherari Bandari Jaffa. We called him and he made an appointment for meet with Sherari Bandari Jaffa. We talked. Then he told me to try his best to see whether I would get like either Pakistan or India. Had the man called me to give him my documents, and they arranged for an interview. There was an interview being arranged, and then requested the Indian High Commission also to complete the list of this interview first. That's how they went to India. I spent 4 years.
4 years in India.
Now, the really going was by land. From Kampala, Mombasa train, from there, by ship, 9 days on water. You wake up every morning, you see nothing but the water.
So how long did it take on the train from Kampala to Mombasa?
I don't remember how it was.
Yeah.
But it went at night. And in the morning, about 10. Ship.
9 days on the water.
9 days of plate of fish. Anytime you want to, you will just say fish. You want anything, we give you full fish. But of course, the first 2 days, you get sea fever. They call it sea fever. But they don't give medication. So the 4 years, there in the university where I went, College of Africa, fortunately, I found a colleague, a Budonian, and in Senegal, says Sempagala was over in Senegal. They met him alone. So I found it very funny. But of course, the food, the first month, food was very bad. Chilies.
Yes.
And the school they were arranging, the foreign students have their own cafeteria. They were sure that the cooks did not put enough chili.
Too much chili.
But for them, they insisted they can make a cooked food. Actually, they put in a little, they think, put in very little. But when tasted, sure, they made a bottle of water. That's it. So that initial period, Same pattern, some response outside. After that, studied for 4 years, finished. Then coming back, come back by saying, India. There was Semaganda and Sampa. He was an ambassador, an ambassador, and he was also in the Burundi. So I got in touch with him. And they sent me a ticket. In document, came back. But then, Chintu Musoke was also in India. He was a Burundi. He insisted I should supper with him on my arrival from India. So my elder brother, Kabali, took me to his home in Nakasero, that's super. And at about midday, we go to Masaka. We found my father, the parents, and the relatives waiting for me. The one who was ready for just simply after 1 week, I went to for the job. So I decided to go to the place where he was. That one, Kawanda, they looked for my file and they wanted to find out how I went because I was previously working there. Before the letter which I sent requesting for leave was missing. But fortunately, the secretary was still there. The one I left. She said she wanted to have the letter. She signed it, she gave it to the boss was Colonel. And she told us that when she gave it, was very, very, very much why I should do for more studies. Yet I had already have all, not knowing this so-called Macadamia, maybe it's not a have a city of 2 or 3 certificates. So that time was when it was there was the transition to independence. So very many assume I didn't have one. But with no qualification. So they fear the competition. Fortunately, when they regularized my appointment, which I wanted to come on. No, yeah. When they regularized this, they said, Uganda government wants some officers. So I seconded.
So it's interesting that your involvement with Uganda government is not in the recent years, which we know about. Most of us know about your service in the early 2000s. It goes way back in the years of the 60s.
There has been also another point that during our final exams, I was the first one, or number one, in Masaka district. And hence, Uganda government gave me a scholarship.
So Uganda government already knew about you.
Well, they knew me. So they funded part of my education. Now, I was going to Uganda government and requested the power. What I was something that was implemented for about 3 months. But there was some problem, administrative problems. Then there was a whole came back to Kawanda.
Yeah.
Kawanda spent only 1 year. Then Uganda government wanted students have master because the Europeans were good. So I was given scholarship to USA University of Arizona. I did my master's in 1968. Okay. Yeah. When I got so University of Arizona.
So I'd like to pause at this point and turn to Mummy. Okay. So how did because he's told us up to a point, how did the two of you meet? Because then we'll take the story on from that point.
Yeah, I would say, first of all, first and foremost, meeting was by good arrangements. Because I remember by then I was in my high school, that is Chimoli.
Yeah.
His young brother was he was doing his teaching practice from Chimoli. So I don't know how excited he was. And he told me, you get me your passport photo. And then he brought me his house. Said, don't be surprised, so and so is going to write to you. So when by then I was in high school. That was when I was in I think S4, by then I was in S4. So I got his photo and his letter showing that he has been cited, that someone cited me to get attached to him. I didn't know that I'll make it up this time, but it's God's arrangements. Then from my high school, when I went to my diploma from Lago, by then he was in the States. That's when you came back. I think by there you will explain about it. He came and he checked on me with one of our brother-in-laws. And I said, this time I was still not sure whether I get used to it. Then I told that brother-in-law was, well, give me some time. So we continued with the normal life, meeting in the whatever various institutions, not knowing that is going to be my husband. But maybe God had planned it for me. So that's how we came to Then we started off getting serious. So when I was at my training institutions. I think when I was in the college, we started dating each other. Or rather in courtship, we call them being in courtship these days.
Yes, at that time it was courtship. These days it's dating.
Not dating. Then we started, by then he was working with when I was in Mulago.
You'd already started working as a nurse in Mulago at that time?
Yeah, after training, of course it was automatic. From the training, by then it was automatic after training, doing the public service. Or so long as you are being successful, you are taking your exams. It was automatic, no time, no rest. So long as your exams are out and you have succeeded, you are posted to the public service.
Yes.
And by then, the nurses at our status were not men, so we are all we were all allocated to the national institution of this country, that is Mulago, where we are posted to start our working. By then, we were called the nursing sisters. Those things have changed in time. We started our work. All in all, working was good because we were very few and we were for high studies by then.
Yes.
Yeah. Because following our principles, which are binding our service. So we started our work, and for him, he was working there. That's when we got serious about it. And also, I had my big brother, the late Hajj said, you are wasting a lot of time. Why don't you come serious with your life? So the first thing that was in Amin's era, they started the system of accompanying people with stock. So, and we were very few medical personnel. So by then, when that system started, when the program started, they are the first pioneers of that program.
So you were involved in the groups that were taking the pilgrims to Mecca?
Yes.
In a medical
Fraternity.
capacity?
Yeah. We are so gifted that we made so many headgears during Amin's era, which is not easy nowadays. Because I think I made about 5 consecutive, 5 consecutive periods going for hijab.
Wow.
And in fact, I thank a lot for Allah for that.
Yes.
Because by then I was so tender. But for the first hijab, I said no. After coming from hijab, that was in 72, 71, I think. Said, I went. You can't with the hijab. You have to be. It is an attachment.
Yes.
That you can't come out and start playing living your life in the house.
You can't finish the Hajj and then come back and destroy it by
moving
a life that is not God conscious.
Yes. So the first thing we thought of, actually we had our colleagues or what? We were following our leaders, our colleagues, the sheikhs and so on, who were with used to be that group. They said, you can't raise once you are back. You have to do what?
You have to walk on the straight line.
You have to then said, what can I do? This is an attachment which has come. Plus then plus my big brother also. So we had our sheikhs. Now most of them, some of them have passed on. We had the late Sheikh Bila. And the late Sheikh, with the Sheikh Mahmoud.
Sheikh Duma. Okay.
But Sheikh Duma was alive. The late Sheikh Bila. And of course the late Mahmoud was around. So we had to come up with a decision of coming so that we don't spoil our hijab. So what? So we have to come up with the late pages. So that we don't spoil our hijab. It was mainly my side because we was not yet a hijab.
Yes.
That made his point of going for it. So that ceremony was done. It was a faithful people. Because of course the guys don't need to show me so that you get that consent from their parents.
Yes. I think just to elaborate a little for the listeners who are not Muslim, we talk about nikah, which is the marriage ceremony, which Islamically requires just people getting married and a couple of witnesses and an officiator. So this is something similar to what you had, a small ceremony in Daddy's brother's place, and it was done, and you became married.
It was done, then you possibly like plan what's next without any indirect. Then you continue.
Okay.
Then sort of what can we do to maybe to regularize our whatever marriage?
Yes.
Then that was in the 71. And then I had finished my diploma in high school. And our parents were already in for it. So they know I had come from Niger. And I can't mess around with that.
Mm.
So we get to meet his arrangements, meet my parents, my brother. So that's it. Bring my to what operations were usually done.
After the wedding,
No,
after the nikah.
after the that was after the reduction.
Yes.
Then we started off.
Okay, so I think some of the things that we've said, thank you for that. It's very interesting, the journeys that you were both on, which brought you together. And as you say, God plans these things, how a picture is shared with another person. I think in today's time and age, if someone says we're just going to share pictures, some people find it very strange, find sharing pictures of a potential spouse. It's found very strange, but it has worked for you. Last year we celebrated 50 years of marriage, which alhamdulillah, by God's grace, you've been there. And some of the things that we discussed in preparation for this was that you said you would be interested in talking about the challenges that you have faced, or how you've got through those challenges through the years of marriage. There was a time when daddy was living abroad and you were living here for work, and you were based here for work. How did that work? Because we have some people in the current times where husband and wife live in different countries, different continents, because of the requirements of work. What were some of those challenges through the years, and then how did you work through them? Because by having celebrated 50 years, we know that you got through those challenges.
All of those challenges.
Yes.
That's distance marriage, relationships. First of all, I had already had my children.
Mm.
They were in high school. The few were in primary. So I thank God that we are in, my family is a bit broad,
Mm.
and we are near each other. Because they find me bounce us a lot.
Yes.
And so we got to I could feel that okay, my husband being that is my across the miles away from me, but at least I was very occupied in my family. We had a lot of social gatherings, our duas, weddings, whatever keeps us. Let's funeral rites and so on and so forth. All of those. They keep you occupied.
Mm.
Plus the working what? Environment.
Yes.
Because once you work, I think you are fully occupied.
Mm.
There's no idleness.
True.
Because now at work, you plan, you have workshops, you have conferences, you have trainings, that is continuous within the marriage life.
Yeah.
Much as your husband's work is across the marriage life.
Mm.
So most of the time you are also occupied. And you have coursework to clear even.
Mm.
This after working hours, you have some assignments, you have those that kids are whatever being looked after, and you know that you can move on along with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for Daddy, for you, how was it? Because Mommy says what helped her was having close family, social gatherings. You didn't have that. You were all the way on the other side of the world. Not quite the other side, but pretty far.
Yeah,
So how did it work for you? How did you make it work?
I would say by the will of God. Because as soon as we got married, months later, I was required to attend the course in sugarcane. I'm a specialist in sugarcane pathology, sugarcane disease. It was hosted was sent to Mauritius about months.
Mm.
And we were hardly for just a few months after marriage. So that was
so that's the first episode. A few months after marriage, you had to go away for 2 years.
No, 2 years.
2 months. 2 months. Sorry, I got that wrong.
So maybe that started transforming me or teaching me out there loneliness.
Mm.
Then of course after that, then I went to about Coimbatore again. When I was posted there, we used to have the communication was mostly by not telephone.
You had this online for what do you call this?
Is up to date.
Traditional phones we used to have.
Yes,
Yeah.
the landlines
Landline, yes,
via the post office.
yes, they're the one we used to have.
And that is also was a class. And secondly, I arranged it with when I was posted in Rome. We agreed with the foreign affairs. But I leave the family behind. In fact, I was advised that if you took with the kids, they are going to be taken to different set of education. Syllabuses are different. And by the time they come back, maybe after 3 or 4 years, they'll be far behind for the syllabus. So we opted the children to stay this side. Now, the Hajjati had to stay because she couldn't go and leave the children
behind, yes.
and we could not take the kids there because their education would be compromised. So, because of that, within that arrangement, I was given 3 tickets every year to come. She was given, I think, 2 tickets to visit. And each kid was also given a free ticket. And almost all of them have been there several times.
So that connection with the family was very important in maintaining the marriage.
And of course, I have people.
Okay. We have a question here that I'm going to read out, but for anyone who's just joined, we've got Haji and Hajjat Simbwa Bunnya, who are my parents-in-law and also the parents of first, they're parents of Aida Nachimara Bunnya, who was class of 92, and then my parents-in-law. And it is the 11th Pearls of Wisdom. So we have got a question here that's come through. How did you manage taking care of the family whilst away, especially in the financial side? I think you've mentioned a little bit about that, but there's a question that came through. Any other questions, please put them through in the chat, but we'll have an open question and answer towards the end. But for now, the question is how you managed the finances whilst daddy you were away and mommy you were here. How did it work financially?
Alhamdulillah, I mean, I thank God. He was being that he was working in Rome. But I think all along, the financial bit was good. Because as you know, our currency, you can't wait to the dollars. So I was very comfortable. I saw my children. I didn't have any gaps there. Highly satisfied. I could meet our obligations, and he was very supportive. The only thing I was missing is himself. First was quite rough, but
Yes.
all in all was confused to communicate.
Yeah.
It was a distance relationship for some time.
Yeah.
She can never call, and after a few months, as I said, I could go and check on him.
Yeah.
Then come back. And those people in the foreign office were very accommodating. Was in the foreign affairs.
Okay, so what advice would you give to people who are living through this kind of setting in the current time where husband and wife live in different places because of work? What advice can you give specifically?
Yeah, I think first of all, if you have that religious attachment and the communication, things work out. Something like that. And the family support, because we are not you don't live in isolation. So long as you have issue to occupy you,
Yes.
you don't have any idleness, you can cope up. There's a communication, financial bit of it,
Yes.
and family, those for family education, family culture.
Yes.
And you being that, you are working, you also even working, if you are working, you're not idle.
Yeah.
You occupy it, I think, most of the time.
I think that's an essential thing to say. Keeping yourself occupied and busy, so that you're not
idle.
You're not
You don't have
idle.
an idle mind.
Correct. So, Daddy, what advice would you give to people who are in that situation where they're working, their families are apart because of work situations that they're going through?
Yes, I would like, especially those with the kids. They should not move you and in the end, the kids will suffer because of changing the syllabus. The syllabus you have here is different. The syllabus you have. I had some examples also. The people I was working with, a gentleman insisted his kids must accompany. So the children went. After 3 years, was transferred back. Now the kid who was in their place at about P45, when he was brought back here, he turned. The boy could not answer those questions.
Yes.
He had to go to P2. The one was expecting P45. Because the syllabi are different. There they talk, they teach European history and so on, but they teach local history. So I would rather leave the kids here and let them know. And also you can always, the world is now a global village.
Yes.
You can come back and tell.
So to look for stability, the best stability for the children is a consideration.
They imagine, I really want small time, sure. But this will be good. But of course,
Yes. Okay, so we'll move on slightly to some of the work challenges, because your mommy worked in the medical fraternity. You were working in Molago, and the people who know about you in those days know you were a person who did your job excellently, formidable woman on the ward. Daddy as well, you've done some amazing work in the organizations that you've worked with. And by the way, before we go much further, we've got a book here that was written by Daddy, and some of the things he's talking about he's written in his book. So I'll just put it across to that. Yeah, that's the book. It was published last year, 2 years ago, 2021, which we'll talk about. So let's talk about some of the challenges that you faced in the work environment. First, Mommy, and then we'll go over to Daddy, and how you'd advise people facing similar challenges, how to get on.
During my working period, I thank Allah, because I was in the management. Being on the management, you decide on what is to be done. And you make sure you make sure that you follow up the work. You're not on the grassroots. You just get reports of how some people are, how patients are being monitored. And being on management, you go outside for conferences, for meetings, chances were there.
Yes.
Whereby you get a ticket and per diem. You can go for 2 weeks, you can go for 3 weeks, which is not the same, which is an opportunity you can't fail to thank God for that. Because as time comes so narrow. Whole life is like a triangle.
Yes.
The more you come up at the end, the more chances that reduce up.
Yes.
So I think being that, as I said, I was on the decision making area, I didn't find a lot of challenges, just to make sure that this objective is being achieved. That means that more people are trained. That means that what items produced are being around. And you get so much exposure when you're in my field of work where I was.
Yes.
So I thank God. We had a lot of, even the connection with the other outside the environment or other interreligious, whatever, hospitals. So I had a lot of links in various hospitals. And I could go for meetings, go for conferences, go for any opportunity which comes first of all, and the one who come with that chance.
Yeah.
So I thank God for that.
Yeah.
I was not on the grassroots.
Yes.
I was just seeing that these areas are very, very well covered, that you better report that people are being looked after well. You don't have maybe show some problems on what comes out in a big society. And you cancel, you make the counseling. The person is not a mad person, he listens and takes what you want. And then you make assessment on how he's going to improve on his performance. So, and they are adults, they understand, they have ethical principles which governs your working environment. Because you have to for which they always cover you up. So you didn't have a lot of shortcomings. I thank God for that. Because I was in the majority. I was one time some of my youths were awarded the winners of the whatever of being the best service providers.
And I think it's easy to understand. You run a tight ship on your ward, and that. So Daddy, what are some of the challenges that you've experienced in the work life, and how did you get through those?
As the district agriculture officer, seconded to Uganda. Now, my juniors had vehicles, I didn't have vehicles. So I had to depend on my juniors to take me around to inspect to agriculture, to advise farmers and so on. So when I came back, when I went to the office, I requested my boss, because undergo, that I wanted a vehicle. And the fellow who was my boss looked at me and laughed. He said, "You're still young. I can only approve motorcycle, not a vehicle." For us, we used to have bicycles. He insisted that we used to use bicycle. I should also, if not a bicycle, but then was going to use a motorcycle. It infuriated me. I went to posting officer for the commissioner for agriculture. day by day. When I told him he was also infuriated. He said, okay, I've taken a decision. You are not going back. I'm transferring and he called the secretary, bring forms, the voting forms, signed, and he gave them to me. He said, go to Copper Motors in Kampala and get it. I got it.
Wow.
And then he asked Kawanda, did you send a lorry to collect my and I asked him whether I should inform my boss. He said, don't. When they find out you're not there, they try to find out why. Challenge again. Then East African Committee, I think we go briefly, I'm not going in detail. What East African Committee? I was the head of the East African Sugarcane Disease Testing Unit. Sugarcane diseases, the whole of East Africa, Uganda, Tanzania, and we had substations that we headquarters was in Kampala. We had a substation in Kibaha, Tanzania. We had one in Kenya. We had one at Mombasa. So in every month, I used to commit all those things. And of course, when you had these custom commodities, you see, I had a Land Cruiser, famous one, people know it, anyone. I used to drive it. I mean, by then, the roads are very safe. Alone from Kampala to Nairobi. Come back with all the requirements that require for your. But then at one time, I was in Nairobi, teaching headquarters. Then at night, announcement came out, the East African community has collapsed. And I was there struggling. Yes. In Nairobi. I had a friend of mine who was in charge of Sogam. Soroti was also East African community. He started shaking, said, if I'm not going back to Uganda, he said, I must go. And they say they had the government put out a notice that if every East African vehicle is not allowed to leave. So what I did at 3 at night, started driving. By the time I reached Maraba, these people are not got the instructions.
Yes, to stop the vehicle.
Stop the vehicle. I crossed. I had my breakfast there. Okay. So that was the end of East African community, and we didn't know what to do next. So when I came back, I went for agriculture. They said, no, you belong to Prime Minister's office. That's where they are placed us. I went there as an agriculture scientist. For the office of the Prime Minister, the politics and so on, but technical person. I started there about 3 months, no work. He said, no, then you go back to you go to the center. They sent me back. Where is agriculture? There was no job. They said, okay, we'll create a job. We'll be in charge of UN organizations that fund that was Food and Agriculture, World Food Council, World Food Program, and so I was in charge of all of it. But of course, the headquarters was where? In Rome, most of it. So I started commuting. Then the time came, they said it was too expensive for me to go every day. So an idea came up, set up a mission. I was sent to set up Rome. But after 1 month, the government collapsed. I was expanded. Expanded. They were this side and there was this. Unfortunately, at that time, whoever was serving in London, they thought it was sympathetic. But for us, we are civil servants. Whoever comes, so whoever comes. So I stayed there for some time until I went to France. France, commissioned Nairobi. And that's the time I was with the World Food Program. They were funding schools with the Groot. You remember what Groot?
That the chicken,
The chicken.
that canned chicken.
Exactly.
I think people will remember this, the tinned chicken.
And I was in charge. I was the one for it. So when I came back, everything had come to standstill. And then they looked for me. They asked me, please accompany us to go. I was.
Why didn't you want to go?
I was scared because things would have really happened. But later on, of course, when World Food Program, people knew it. So they say, the transport and these items I required the IGP. By then I had a friend of mine, but his name was Denken from Denmark. Was also representing the country. And they were, we used to sit together, and he had been in Canada. I told him my problem. He said, "Oh, no problem. Let me talk to my country." Talk to the embassy. They agreed to give us transport free of charge. Some say 140, whatever those vehicles. So in less than a week, less than 2 weeks, all the routes and milk and so on. So my work was done. When I came back, I started serving government where I was. There's one thing I don't want to mention here. It was a minister was appointed as a minister of agriculture. When he looked at me, although he knew me, he said, "You people, you've been in Rome, you are serving your name." He said, "No, I'm serving the government. I'm a civil servant." I did not want to see my face. So I left in his office. I don't know where I saw him, but they say, many companies, but maybe he's one of them. So I with them. So then they later on, I think after a month, they say they wanted to formalize that Uganda office to Rome. And they sent officers to go and set it up. By then, I think Mr. Parliament they requested for my name to go there to get the mission. Well, it was saying money. So, took it up formally.
So that's how you ended up in Rome.
But of course, there was the additional thing. Rome, the Vatican. Vatican is a country by itself, small. It cannot be represented by one person. One person cannot represent two countries. So you have to have ambassador to Vatican, ambassador. But again, the Uganda government wants to have an ambassador to Italy. They appointed an ambassador to Italy. Me, I was ambassador to FPL. But this ambassador, Uganda ambassador, Italy, could not represent the country. Vatican. So the person who was responsible for the camp, the ambassador of Uganda to Germany. So there it was. At one time, I remember when Isa, minister, his father was canonized. They came to Rome to open the Uganda Matter Church. Yeah, I was there. Bob John Paul II. Of course, I had 2-3 private audiences before. Now, during that occasion of this church, the Catholic Church, people with me, Bishop they normally, the Pope has got a ring, and we do. I didn't. The case. He asked me to told him. He said, it's okay. So that was the last one. Now, when that was fully established our office, I was to stay there about the first 3 years. I had hardly spent 2 years. Then something absurd happened. They wanted me to go back, but it was not the foreign affairs which was called another ministry altogether.
Another ministry wanted you to return to Uganda.
Return because they wanted something.
They wanted to replace you with someone else over there.
So I referred it back. Nobody's only Then there was the retrenchment exercise. So I was retrenched because they thought, how did I put on when I'm not in foreign affairs, not recruited for foreign affairs? Unfortunately, about a month later, they sent me another letter, rescinding the retrenchment. I should go back to work. I said, no, to help with that. I stayed with that retrenchment letter, and I didn't go back to serve.
So you chose to retain the retrenchment letter. So a challenge faced, and you chose that.
Yes. But later on, the article was headed by a colleague. He told me, he said, there's a for European rehabilitation. Said, oh, say they came with the money. And when do you think we make the people they say the airports whom I had met in Singapore and Sao Paulo International Sugarcane Association, Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Singapore. They gave me your name, but one of the people who can assist in the rehabilitation of sugar. Because and again, Now, why you so sure? So we sat down. Say they want to join us in the team. We agreed. Then they say, first of all, I said, I've been away from my family. I want to live with my children this day. Because I've been away, they've been away from me. If there's no work in the company, so we parted. Then after, I think, a month, they contacted me and said, yes, we have got a solution. So we are creating a post. We are going to be overall assistant general manager based in Kampala. And you will be the liaison officer for this. The other department in ministry. So I took it up. And that's how I worked. Based in the Kampala.
Based in Kampala, yeah.
When life went on, then some nice things did happen, and it is in the book. Whoever wants to read it, it will be in the book. I shall not. Let it today.
That's the book he's talking about, and that incident he's talking about. He's written in great depth about it in this book. Okay, I think now is a good time to perhaps you can give us a brief as to why you titled the book Omuntu Koi. And then later on we'll tell them how to find the book. So Omuntu Koi, that's Olugendo Lw'obulamu bwange. Okay, so tell us briefly why the title Omuntu Koi.
That's why unless I explain it in Uganda.
Explain it in Luganda. Yes. So
kitegeeza koi omuntu gw'oyita mukwano gwo ennyo oba muganda oba kiki ekimuli munda kiba kirala nnyo ayinza okwesimbisa gwe nolowooza nti mukwano ne bw'aba muganda buli lwatunuulira ekintu ky'olina awulira ng'alina ensaalwa n'olwekyo omuntu bw'atyo yeefuula omuntu aba koi takubuulira mazima bwekityo.
That's elaborated in the book.
Yes.
You'll find out why he titled it Koi and the incidents in the book. Personally, this is the first time I had the word Koi in this phrase. What I knew as a Koi. Yes, yeah. Okay. So we've had some messages in the chat, which we will read out. And then if anyone has got any messages, please put them in the chat. Otherwise, we will, you'll have opportunities to ask questions directly. I'm expecting some questions from the family. So please prepare them, or even comments, inshallah. Okay, so we have something here from Medica Jubi, mashallah, loves this. And then this is Phyllis Mukasa. Congratulations on your 50th anniversary. I remember Sister Simbwa Bunnya working with my father, the late Dr. Nsibira. Dr. Nsibira, may his soul rest in peace. Interestingly, I'm married to Mr. Samiri Mukasa's son, who was your mentor at Kawanda. What a small world. So she's married to your mentor's son. Yeah, so this is Phyllis. Thank you very much for that, Phyllis. And yes, one of the questions that came in earlier was, this was from Sifa. Any challenges or regrets you have about parenting? Please do keep the questions coming. We've got another 20 minutes or so of the program, but we have some questions. So any regrets about parenting that either of you have? Mami?
I think parenting, I don't regret with my children.
Mm.
They have been on the right path.
Mm.
And because I haven't had any, or let's say sometimes adolescents are quite difficult,
Mm.
but they were responding because they were cooperating, or because maybe because I have some medical attachment. We have a lot of counseling, we pass through various stages of development.
Mm.
So I think they were good. I don't have much challenge with them. They were very well coordinated. So long as you communicate with each other.
Mm.
You know, I'm talking to this one. This age is different. This one is different.
Mm.
So you go through smoothly like that.
Mm.
I can't say that I had a very rough time with my children, especially that adolescent age.
Yes.
It's very difficult. And even being faith-based, once you are attached to Allah's plans, I think you grow up with that. I think you overcome so many problems.
Yes.
And just time passes without knowing. And now, as you are working, he's working, you only meet when at home. At home, you know, the children are going to school, they're also their field. You know, home is covered up. You know, you find the smooth way going through your life. So you don't have so much obstructions. Yes. And the family, they are all understanding. They are within each other. You talk, you share a lot. So, and time passes without knowing. I can't say that I had this obstacle. Yeah. My children were very good. They didn't give me problems. I can't regret. I only serve God for that.
Okay, and Daddy, any regrets about parenting?
No. Just one small advice. Our father, as just an example, he insisted on honoring the elderly. He was very, very much attached to his religion. Every now and then he would refer to his father, Yunusu Sebata, who initially was a Catholic, converted, and engaged in religious wars on the side of Muslims. Apparently, circumcision himself. We heard of it.
No.
Yes. So he was very, very adamant that his children, my father, his children adhere to what he would see. We had the most part of the first most in that area. And he told us, whoever comes here is a visitor. If he wants to stay overnight, and please give him the beddings and the water. And the working is still working phenomenon in us. He used to have plenty of coffee, shamba of coffee, binary in Chitengesa, it was about 7 or 8 acres of coffee alone. Coffee alone. Okay. Yes, he is still discipline and work ethics. And why we had 7, as I told you, about 7 acres coffee. At Kitengesa, you had another plot somewhere called the Boenda. Also, plenty of coffee.
Mm.
And the work of children, male children, was to pick coffee and pick cotton. Picking cotton, top coffee, especially when it was big and big harvest, would ask or tell you or to bring or to pick 3 tins coffee. Anything extra would be yours.
So meaning anything beyond the 3 tins was
Ah.
yours and yours to sell.
And because, yes.
Yeah.
Now, imagine tips and the time of selling that percentage of money due for you. You give it. So that instilled in us that you cannot get anything for free. You have to work for it. Those who neglected or refused to go to collect, they did not get anything. And that is what I've instilled in my children. Must work in order to get to benefit. You can't just sit there and say, I'm going to pay. Idea of begging to out. So when you are parenting your children, tell them the value of work. They should work and get rewards. But not just sit there, Daddy, I need this, I need. But at least sit there, someone let them work. Because you are going to live with them and on their own. So they must work. But as I told you, respect for elders.
Respect for elders. So you have mentioned good manners. You've mentioned respect and honoring of the elderly. You mentioned earlier on attachment to religion.
Yes.
And then instilling a strong work ethics. Yes, that nothing is for free. Okay, so we have those as advice to parents who are parenting, and it's a tough generation right now of parenting, because some of the opportunities, for example, to instill strong work ethics, you have to be creative about them right now. We don't have coffee plantations or coffee and cotton things out, crop outside our homes. So the opportunities for these children to learn these things are quite limited. They're narrow. So as parents, you have to be very creative. But I think the end goal is to make sure that there is that strong work ethic instilled, however way you go about it. Because as you mentioned, at the end of the day, you leave the children behind to fend for themselves. Yes, it's.
I stayed with India. We find most of these businesses are family businesses. They don't really like kids. But of course, their honesty is paramount. He cannot dip his hands in somebody's mouth. No, he can't. You will find a family. The mother starts in the morning at about 8, this is a shop. At about midday, the father comes back with the groceries, whatever it is, restock it. Of course, white people. Then at about 6, child comes from school, he goes there. So the business continues. But they are very honest, very honest. But ours, unfortunately, what I see over here, they can easily dip into coffers and go with it. Or if some of them would prefer you dead so that they can go. I've heard of children, even on TV, claiming, our father, this is our place, must do. But why don't you work for yourself? Get it more. That was his father, your father. They should not, subdivision, I think, is making us
making life very, very difficult.
Mm.
If I have 10 acres, I don't expect it to divide it among these. Let them do theirs. I also struggle to get this 10 acres. Let them also struggle to get theirs. And let them struggle to get their children also work and get that. But to wait for somebody, your father or your mother, to die so that you can grab whatever has been left behind. It's abominable.
Yes. That's very good reflections and reminders.
And the relatives that they put first. You want to trust, basically put him in a business. Then it turns into the coin. Turns into coin. You just want to destroy him for his wrong. So children should not expect dividends from their parents. So cheaply. If they also want. And subdivision is killing us. I mean, land is inelastic. Whatever it is what it is.
Yes. Yes.
When I have 2 acres. How are you want to divide it? And I think that point I'm going to re-emphasize it. I want to tell these kids, each one should work for himself. Don't expect to harvest from your father. Yes.
The parents have invested in education, so don't expect to harvest from them.
Our father, in his deed,
Yes. Okay. So a few messages in the chat. Listeners, if you've got any questions, do raise your hands. We'll take some audio questions. It'd be good to hear your voices. But if you're feeling a bit shy, you may type it in the chat. Okay, so we have here, Assalamu alaikum Hajj and Hajjat. This is from Sarah Semiano. Nice to see you and thanks for being a part of our early lives. We appreciate you. Okay, then there's another question here, which I'll come to afterwards, which is, but I'll let you think about it. Do you feel that you were too strict as parents or too relaxed? Okay, so think about that. Were you too strict or too relaxed? Think about that. There's a question there in the chat. Okay, and then here we have from our very own Ida Bunnya. Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us with your life, love, health, and above all, the knowledge of Allah. You have been a great inspiration to us, your immediate family, and to so many people far and wide. We aspire to grow and be like you. We aspire to have strong relationships and marriages like you. May Allah continue to bless you, our lovely parents. We can't thank Allah enough for you. Then we have one here from Halima Nantongo. Surely, which of God's favors can we deny? With a flower to you. And then this is all the way from the UK, Hakim Mubiru, he's Haji Mubiru Kololo's son. Assalamu alaikum Hajj Hajjat Bunnya. My question is to both of you. Were any of you a part of Young Men Muslims Association being set up by Prince Kakungulu? What were your achievements and what can the current members do to meet the challenges of this generation? So first is the question, were you too relaxed or too strict as parents? Then this question about Young Men's Muslim Association. What can the current members do to meet the challenges of the current time? Yes, please, you may go then. You may ask.
I think we are not very, very strict. But I think we are moderately strict because we cannot allow see something going wrong and we keep quiet. So we are moderately strict because you can't, you don't want somebody going astray.
Mm.
We want everything to be more or less in order. And some of them can even testify where they have gone wrong, very wrong. They know what has been done to them, but they are all perfect.
Mm.
They have told the talk that we want.
Yes.
Now, regarding your mayor, I'm glad that it's come up. I've been a member of Omea for about 15, 17. And I'm currently the chairman of Omea for the last 10 years. We are not many, but we make an impact.
Mm.
There is, he's asking what we've done.
What advice can you give to the current so what were your achievements? Yes, that's the first one. And then what can the current members do to meet the challenges of this generation? This is more, I think, the branch of the Young Men's Muslim Association. Yes, the achievements, and then also what the current members can do to meet the challenges of this generation. Your advice.
So far,
Yes.
It has schools.
Mm.
And periodically, we have an inspectorate, your mayor. They do inspect and give advice wise. Financially wise, we are not, mayor does not generate funds. So it more or less works on donation. Now, we thought, depending on donations, is not sustainable and it's not tenable. So currently, if you went to Chuli, just near Mokwana, up there, is a very big building, multi-building. It's being built by Mayor. It's a commercial complex.
Okay. Yeah.
Or what we call
Waqf. An endowment.
It's an endowment. For especially schools. It's going to be most likely by the end of April next year. It should be finished by and should be operational by March, April next year. Then we shall have some income for generation. Of course, we shall pay back first below, but we are sure we shall have retained some money to assist, especially struggling primary schools. For secondary schools, most of them generate their income, but you go to villages very far, it's written in Omea, but they don't even have benches to sit on. We are working hard. I'm chairman of the Omea for the last 10 years.
So how does, those who are not clear, how does Umea link with the Young Men's Muslim Association? Is there a link between those two? What's the link? Umea, that's Uganda Muslim Education Association, and then Young Men Muslim Association. What's the link between those two? With education.
Education. But young men will fail. So indirectly, they more or less interconnected, but specifically for Omea is education.
Okay.
Schools.
Okay. So what advice have you got for the other one that's on welfare and dealing with the current generation's challenges? for the young men, how can they better deal or best deal with current generation's challenges?
I think what they need to do is to do what we started. We started. No? Yes, I think it was started by my young bishop. At that time, I was still young, small, very young. But we knew in every school, at the end of every academic year, we'll know how many students have passed and in which grade they have achieved. Madam?
Yes.
You got it?
Yes, yes.
So your young men, they would enlist or they would go to schools and find out Muslim students who
Okay.
they are. At any one point, you say, they should have a catalog of Muslims because they could get some of the information from there. Catalog of Muslim students, what degrees, which degree, first degrees. So if any avenue come up or opportunity for such people, they always have a source of people. I think that's what I propose.
Okay, so that it's really getting them a catalog that would help them identify
Yes.
people for opportunities that come up readily, and then
Yes.
that in itself will generate the returns that will get young Muslims better positions within society, which then
And also,
transcends beyond the generations.
Because there are some who are scared to know, have their identity known.
Mm.
Because you find Moses never called himself. But listen, let us educate them that what you bring to is honorable.
Yes.
It's not a curse.
Yes.
Be proud of what you are. I think that is also very important. Yes.
So, any questions or comments? We've got a few minutes left of the program. So if you've got anything, do type it in the chat, or you may raise your hand. I don't think I've seen any hands raised, but I'd like to get some audio commentary or comments in from all of you who are attending, or any one of you. Yes, okay, so Daddy here says there are a few things he would like to touch on before we finish. So please.
So after that state affairs. So yes, I also worked in local government. I worked at the District Service Commission. But what I found there when I went, I think it's true that most of these commissions are corrupt. People you don't get the best candidates sometimes, but because of corruption. And unfortunately, some of them, I'm told, the girls to get those jobs, they are compromised. My stint there for 2 terms, we had eliminated such vices. But of course, vices, the vice makers also are only increased. So I stayed in those 2 years, 2 terms, and started. Of course, then I had a stint with Uganda government. I was very happy because of what they had done to me in primary school. I mean, a senior, they gave me a scholarship. And I was always wondering how I would ever pay back with Kabaka. And this was a chance. During that time, the cathedral by JB was, we were working for nothing. We used to put in our door. You can go as far as the Barara, Kabaka's government duty. So that was a very, very fulfilling achievement. Yes.
And your service to Kawaka was in the realm of agriculture.
Yes, I was a minister, state for agriculture. Yes, of course. That extension. And I brought in the biogas. That's for which I also sit here.
So you've also got a biogas production unit here
Yes,
at home.
Use biogas.
Yeah.
Yes. But they need maintenance. We don't maintain it as a past.
How long have you had the biogas?
Biogas was you need a minimum cooker. But I was working with a colleague of mine called Bernard Danswa. For him, he has made it a business. The company is called EcoSafe. EcoSafe. And he's doing very well. Doing well, very well. We have this contact.
Okay, so we've got here EcoSafe, so commercial biogas. Okay, so we've got that. We've got only a couple of minutes of the program to go. We'll let Daddy and Mommy prepare your closing remarks, but we've got someone here, one of the grandchildren, who would like to say something. I don't know if they've got, and Hamza as well has got his hand raised. So we'll have something here from me, and then Hamza, you can prepare yourself. Come on, say something good. Put on the video so people can see who you are.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Hajj Hajjat Simbwa Bunnya, and I thank Allah for giving us grandparents like this. And I thank Allah that they're still here to tell us their stories, how their life was, and advise us on what to do.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Adian. Hamza, please lower your hand, unmute, and tell us what it is you'd like to say.
All right, Assalamu alaikum, Daddy and Mommy.
Oh, just bear with me a moment. We need to get the audio up.
Can you hear me now?
Hold on. Yes, please go on.
All right, Assalamu alaikum, Mommy and Daddy. It's the middle of the night here, but thank you for inspiring us through these years. Actually, today, a colleague of mine from Bodo forwarded me this Zoom call, and he told me that you guys were our age when we were in Bodo. You know, we're now late 40s. Well, we have kids who are now in high school, so we would be your age when we were in school. So thank you for all you've done for us. The question I have for you, Daddy and Mommy, is you have touched many people's hearts. Many people have gone through our house through the years. What advice would you give many of those, not just the people here on the forum, but the people who you have touched? What advice would you give them to ensure that they live lives as fulfilling and as long as both of you? And again, thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you continue to do to inspire us. And again, we look forward to many years with you. Thank you.
I think what my advice to my children is to maintain the family touch, being together all the time. That one can help you overcome so many stresses which can come in this world. You don't live in isolation. We are born, and even in the Quran, family ties is supposed to be strengthened. And whatever is being highlighted out by Allah it's not a mistake. Because first of all, you don't know how we came on this world. Unlike the other people who arranged us to be in such a situation. So you have to explore to see how you can instill it in your family, so that you keep the life going on, and you keep on trying to get in touch, keep the communication. I think the communication is the very best thing in this life. Because once you know what is going on here and that, and then you keep in, you try to probe in and see how any problem can be solved.
Daddy?
Yes, Hamza, Assalamu alaikum, meeting at your place. Thank you very much for those sweet words. And through you, we'd like to, you and your siblings, thank you all for what you are doing to us in our these late years. We think and we hope that you are going to instill the same characters with still you to all your siblings. So thank you very much, and I wish you long life.
Okay, thank you very much, Hamza, for that. Just a comment on this. I think there is great testimony from the number of people who've gone through this home. Many people who are your children, although not biologically, but they count as your children. So this home has seen many, many children go through. So may Allah reward you for that. So Mercy, you've got your hand raised. We'll take another 3 or 4 minutes and then we'll close. So Mercy, you may lower your hand and unmute and tell us what it is you have for us.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. Thank you, Sophia, for this opportunity and for bringing us our parents live on screen from wherever we are. Mine is just a vote of thanks to Daddy and Mommy for everything you have done, and thank you for keeping us all together and for being an inspiration to all of us and setting a very good example that you are all following. We pray the Almighty grants you more health and life. My question to both of you is, how do you do it? How do you do it? Thank you.
How do you do it?
Yes, how we did it by the grace of God. Yes, believe in God and do what is required of you in the light of God. That's all.
Mommy?
Yeah, as Ben said, because the spring person or the spring, I can't call him a person,
From power.
the spring power is from Allah. So with Allah's blessings and the arrangements, I think you go through smoothly. And the communication is the best channel.
I think that has come through very, very frequently from Mommy. Communication, as well as an awareness of God. Is there anything that you'd like to close with, Mommy and Daddy, that you haven't said before, or you'd like to leave as a final reminder?
I think I did. I knew that I was
No, I didn't.
We are of course, we are the pioneers in that field. And I was proud that by the time I retired, you keep on going, you keep going on various health reviews to monitor their performance, to meet your objectives and see that alleviating someone who's suffering is the best thing in life.
Yeah.
Because no one can live on this world saying that those are the challenges we live with. And it's like the delivering a man, and you come up with a live baby.
Yes.
And that live baby grows up. I'm so proud seeing him growing, rise from infancy, and then he grow up, goes through going age, and then comes up, even creating a family. You thank God for that. So the supreme person, not to forget in this world is Allah.
Okay.
Yes, I would like to end up by saying I'm a Rotarian for so many years, about 20 years. I've been in president of the Rotary Club member some time back. So let us have service above self. Serve others. So that is my enigma. Service above self.
In fact, similarly to the Rotarians, we have the inner wheel club.
Which one is that?
Inner wheel.
Inner wheel.
Yes.
The inner wheel. That's for the ladies.
Yes.
Okay.
It normally gives their services. When you are an individual, go to message you, it's like a tree from the roots and you grow up, you see branches. Look at the less privileged people. There's nothing like looking at the less privileged people suffering. You feel that you have that empathy. But suppose I'm the one with that feel, how do I feel? So you try to see how you can alleviate someone's suffering. And life is the best thing in this life, in this world.
Yes.
You can't live without it. And you can't mess with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Again, we're about to close. We've got a comment and then a hand raised. First, I'll read the comment, then Akusa's got a hand raised. She's been on the call since the beginning. This is from Yunus. We thank the Almighty Allah for our great parents, for loving us, for being there for us always, and for guiding us. May Allah have mercy on you as you had mercy on us when we were young. Mercy, thank you for joining this call. Truly appreciate your time. And Sophia for this initiative. Blessings and have a great weekend. So Akusa, you'll be our final person to say something. Please go on.
Assalamu alaikum, Auntie and Uncle. So good to see you. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you, especially to Hajjat. She delivered me of my babies and was so compassionate to me. And I remember, of course, she had worked with Mommy for a long time. We are part of the children who have gone through that household. Starting when it was in Nakasero to Mugolobi, we were part of those many children eating that pilau and enjoying that household, We were closer to Hamza. I was closer to Hamza and Aida. Those were people in my age group. But Auntie disciplined me like any of her children, She was always cautioning me, why are you working at this time? Who are you working with? Does Mommy know you're here? I'm taking you home. I thank you for that. You always looked out for me. And now the babies we delivered in Mulago, they are now full-grown people. They talk back. They're no longer just wrapped up. But I thank you. And I wanted especially to say that your friendship to our family has been really fantastic. And it has grown with us all this time. And you're always asking after us. We're always asking after you. But as you have mentioned, it is very, very important to have people to go through life with. And for us, at least in our household, you are part of those people who we have grown with, who have been there for us. And I thank you for that. And we thank God for your 50 years of marriage. Indeed, it is a wonder. As some of us are here struggling through ours, we are very happy to see you as an example, and you really inspire us. I just thank God for your lives. I really just wanted to say hello and just thank you all for all you've done for us.
Thank you very much, Akusa. With that, we will close the call. It's been a very good conversation. I hope we've learned a thing or two from Mommy and Daddy here. We've got some messages. Mukama basasire era abatukumire. From Amal, may Allah continue to bless you more. You are truly an inspiration of dedication to each other and of service to others. I think Amal sums it up very well, that service to others, being conscious of God in our lives, and then also instilling that in the children that we are raising. There are 4 things that Daddy talked about in raising children: bring them up with good manners, honoring the elderly, being attached to religion and to God, and instilling good work ethics. And that will get them through that stage and beyond. But finally, with a reminder of service above self, which was from both through Rotary and Inner Wheel, and I suppose any other organization that we might be involved in or not. So that's the end of this month's Powers of Wisdom session. We've had Hajj and Hajjat Simbwa Bunnya, who are the parents of Ida Bunnya, class of 1992, and my parents-in-law. It's been a pleasure sitting here at your feet. Literally, I'm at their feet, sitting on the ground and facing them. But if you have had anything that you've picked up from here, a lesson or two, please work with it, run with it, and pass it on to those who are not here, so that whoever was not here would benefit from what has been discussed, the powers that have been shared. If as well you have got a parent, or you are a parent and you'd like to feature on these conversations, it's really informal conversations, please do get in touch with us through the same channels that you found out about this. Get in touch with us so that we can host you and we can learn from you as well. So with that, we end today's session. Thank you very much. We thank Allah for having given us this opportunity. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. God bless you all.